Welcome back, everybody. Yamato had a successful debut here at Lowell Park. SANDBOX got a game number 1 victory up against Dynamics. Seems like Varus is being opened a lot recently. Dynamics, they comped around Varus, poke Varus. At the same time, SANDBOX, they also tried picking Lucian for topside from time to time, but at the same time, he also tried to going with a very late game oriented comp, but everything didn't really work for SANDBOX. So this time around, SANDBOX was looking for a very strong 2v2 fight comp on the top side of the map. Up against Varus, they were looking for more of a sustainability just to hold on to a point where they can just stay or lane against Varus without any meaningful trade, to be honest. And they were looking for some points at the top side of their map. So they picked Volibear into Olaf and Irelia into Jace, and that was really a very smart choice for SANDBOX Gaming. It was even more interesting to watch because they had a very different style of comp, and we had a lot of fights overall in this game. So first, let's watch how they trade Kill and Drakes. SANDBOX was actually showing a really nice decision and rotation at this point of the game, because at first Dynamics got a kill on Senna. So with this bottom lane priority, Dynamics, they were pushing forward and rotated to the bottom dragon fight. SANDBOX, even though they lost their support, they didn't give up, because they had this information that most of the Dynamics players were below half health. They were kept pushing in and looking for a possible pickup on the Dynamics players. Olaf had his power spike, however, he had to use all of his skills, manas and HP, hunting down the dragon, so the rest of the Dynamics players was not really that helpful for that point of the time for a team fight. So SANDBOX Gaming, they were able to find some kill for the answer of the pick on Tahm Kench and Senna. Moving on, we had a last game team fight that decided the result of this game. It was a very close game and either team could grab a win, but in the end, Dynamics, they were really too pondering over everything. Dynamics, they were so concerned about SANDBOX picking up that Dragon Soul, so even though they were having a poke comp, they were pushing in and answering the fight attempt on the side of SANDBOX. Because SANDBOX was the one to kind of open fights and rush in. Well, they could just wait for SANDBOX coming in really hard, but they had to actually go forward because of the mind pressure about the Dragon Soul. And also, another impressive thing was their voice count from the SANDBOX Gaming, because these days, SANDBOX fans noticed that SANDBOX voice count was too quiet and no one was actually vocal or nor being the mental core. But this time around, they really sounded much more proactive and communicative, so this can be a silver lining for SANDBOX Gaming. It's time to check out the player of the game on the side of SANDBOX. On Fleek. First POG of the split. SANDBOX, they used to be a very powerful team around the objectives, but we were not able to see the old SANDBOX up until now. But today, we finally saw the SANDBOX that we were waiting for. And on Fleek, he used to be a very confident and strong player whenever he had a lead over the opponent jungler, and Volibear seemed to be a really good connection to him. And maybe this is a reconnection of the on-Fleek in the Caspa Cup or the Spring Split on-Fleek. He used to find a special angle that enabled SANDBOX to pick up a lot of unexpected leads. And this time around, he was able to pull off such plays in this game. Sadly, he did miss out one vote out of 12, but still, he is walking away with one POG award for this game number 1. We have been having 12 games in a row, but let's find out whether we can have another game or 2 more games.
Thank you very much, G-Sun, for the translation. Valdez.
I swear it was Atlas. He made me do it. It wasn't me.
No, I would have given it to Root, and I would have looked just as...
I don't know. Like, I thought Root had a really good game, too. We were talking about that.
I mean, I guess...
I don't know.
I guess when it comes down to it, Volibear was probably the most consistent and also got things done in the earlier stages. But the problem is, he's Volibear. He's a lumbering bear, just runs at you. You know, it's not like there are flashy plays. He missed an ultimate and then flashed on someone. That looked pretty cool.
Yeah. He was just... Remember, he was 3-0. So
yeah, he was really strong.
By the end of the game, he had so much armor built up against their poke comp and their lethality that it was like, he doesn't care about your damage. And Azir was, for some reason, nowhere to be found. I thought Kuzan had kind of a weak game. He looked very passive and never really had his soldiers in position. I don't want to see him play Azir once again. Maybe something he's a little bit more comfortable on, even though he has played a couple of games of his Azir to success. He didn't, that wasn't it. That game was not his Azir game to remember. So I'll be interested to see what he decides to do, because he was going to be the one guy that could have countered that Volibear. But either way, guys, we're into pick ban for game 2. Dynamics going to say, well, we're not going to let you have Varus, even though we lost with Varus.
Sparing them the issue. They were too scared of the lethal tempo Varus that Root sent out before. As Volibear going to be banned on blue side by SANDBOX. Interesting, respecting what OnFleek just did. And also looking for a different first pick. Remember, Ezreal, I think, slipped through the entire draft last time around. Yeah, might be something that SANDBOX could look towards, especially with Varus banned now. But it's going to be banned, so the Kalista could come in, the Aphelios could come in. See where SANDBOX do decide to go.
Yeah, generally Aphelios' first pick is kind of pushing yourself into one kind of composition. And Olaf is, another one where we're kind of like, well, that, generally not first pickable, or not good enough to be first picked, maybe we should say. I thought the Aphelios wasn't so bad in this position, especially because Varus, Ezreal, Karma were all banned, and Trundle, which is something we see often picked into Aphelios, alongside of the fact that both Kalista and Ezreal, who are top-tier AD carries, were already off the board, and that, the Aphelios gains more value because of that. But instead, they decide to go for Olaf, and we'll see what Team Dynamics do to counter that.
It's going to be Nidalee. So a little bit of that poke flavor that Dynamics went for in game number 1, but this time coming out of the jungle, and Beyond is going to be very aggressive on this pick. And I was thinking about the Ashe. Now, they could pick Ashe Lulu here for the Mega 5 head, because Lulu does make Olaf so much better, and also provides you with a very difficult lane to deal with. The amount of slows, the amount of poke, and the amount of control that you have is very, very high. They are going to lock in at least the Ashe portion, as looking for some comfort for Fate at the same time.
Look at his smirk. He's like, I know what to do against Aphelios. I'm a professional coach. I just won a game. Let's outrange him. And that is going to be the name of the game. Already a nice amount of range. I mean, you'd think about Ashe, the effective pick they have in their composition. As alongside of the axes, generally Olaf is not the greatest into Aphelios. Obviously, he runs straight into him, but alongside Ashe and Syndra, it's not terrible, as I like that. He hovered the Azir, and I was about to start shaking my head, but he goes into comfort. He picks up the LeBlanc, something that can do well into the Syndra. It depends on, it's more of a skill matchup nowadays, as Syndras can sometimes have the upper hand over LeBlancs, but we'll have to wait and see, because Kuzan is definitely going to challenge Fate here in the second game.
Very true. Dynamics going to ban away Gorilla's Tahm Kench. And we'll see where SANDBOX are actually going to look. I would ban Lucian and the Aatrox to avoid Rich having any sort of comfort pick. I think that would be a good place to start. Because Rich did look a little bit lost on the Jace. He was solo killed by Summit. Summit had a really good time against him. And look at that. Look at this gigantic brain on Yamato Cannon right here.
Their top laner plays Aatrox. We ban Aatrox. No Aatrox.
Yeah.
You know what might be next? Lucian.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be going down that Rich tier list.
Yeah. Or maybe Jace.
Ooh.
He played in the last game, you know.
It's true.
And they have... Oh, no, it's Set. Okay, never mind.
Well, Set was banned much
all that
earlier
back.
last time, so having to get rid of it does make some sense.
Yeah, he's definitely a very high-tier champion nowadays. It's not something that Rich has played much of, but they want to take that off the table as Bard still available. I like that. They have immense burst potential already in their composition. You lock one person down with a Q or a Tempered Fate from Bard, you can just light him up with a lot, but they'll have to get in range first, which will be interesting up against Syndra Ashe already.
Yep, and pretty pickable as well is the Bard. Gorilla going, this would be well and truly back into the books, but does certainly line up with the theme, which is very Freljordian, especially on the bottom side.
Nice.
Yeah, got to make sure that you have a comp that is comfortable with one another. As Summit, so Renekton is his highest win rate champion of all time in the LCK.
I feel like
doesn't
Nato's
make it a good pick.
Joker, no, I don't think we should do this. And Joker's like, no.
Right.
Joker with the Renekton pick here.
As soon as they're sinning, we assume that it's Joker.
Must be Joker.
All right.
And Summit working together against Yamato. Yamato would never.
No.
Fellas is still here. I'm so sorry.
He was in the chat moments ago, but I think maybe he's left.
The blind pick R5 Renekton with a poke range comp. I just don't get it, especially when the enemy top laner plays Lucian.
He's a Lucian one trick basically.
I just don't get it. I mean, you said, I think maybe you raised the one valid point that Summit has a lot of experience on Renekton and he's got a great win rate. Maybe that's what he's going for, but it just doesn't seem to make too much sense to me in this draft at all.
And also this draft is now on a bit of a timer, one could say. Both the Olaf and the Renekton will run out of usefulness. The bottom lane is going to be pretty self-sufficient. Braum is a legacy. Gorilla is a legacy Braum player. Been playing this champion for a very long time. Was one of our better ones. Yeah. And look, they do have mid-game team fight and catch potential. Their pick potential is insane. But their comp is going to fall off a cliff. And especially up against what Dynamics have to offer, which is the large amount of years that resides on the bottom side of the map. Very squishy, though, so this is a game that Fate could pop off in.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. This is like something that Team Dynamics didn't really account for, it seems. You know, they wanted to go along the lines of the comp they were already building, which is super poke-heavy, pick potential. Well, less pick, more poke, I would say. And the ability for Bard to line someone up and then have 4 members just dive him with a crazy amount of poke will be very interesting to watch. But again, that's 5 targets that Syndra can ult and feel pretty good about. So I think this is going to be a lot of pressure onto Fate to do something here in the early to mid game.
Yeah, it's weird. Actually, I kind of want to take back the scaling situation, because in this game, having meat shields is going to be a good thing for SANDBOX, because they do need to just dive on top of Dynamics, and all game long, Renekton and Olaf will be doing relevant damage, because there are no tanks. There is no one that's able to soak anything. They just instantly die. So we'll have to see. Just walking up to Wretch and Gorilla. He's going to turn up. There's the Winter's Bite instantly. Flash comes out in trade for the exhaust. You'll take that any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And Braum's going to wander back to the bottom lane before the minions even spawn. That was probably Yamato's idea.
Good job, Yamato. Well done. So, Atlas, I wanted to ask you a question. Earlier, I was looking at the chat during the break, and they were saying, spam this tomato to help Yamato? I don't get it. It doesn't rhyme. Can you... Can you tell me what it means?
I'm not going to get baited. I'm not going to get baited by your pronunciation.
Unless he's named Yamato, maybe I misunderstood.
He's your Mato, isn't he? Yeah, was that the Australian joke? Is that where we got to?
Maybe it was just my NA brain. I couldn't quite grasp it for some reason, but I don't know. Well, maybe you can tell me later on.
Well, there's a saying. What happens when it doesn't really matter if a thing is one way or the other? Do you know the saying for that? It starts with tomato.
Oh, tomato. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I still don't get it though. It doesn't really help me.
You mean tomato potato?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man.
Well, with Yamato coming in here.
Wait, did we come up with another one? No, we didn't. It's still the same one. But I'm glad we're still spamming it. As SANDBOX, for the first time ever, are actually ahead in a series. I believe never were in that position against DRX. They often lose game 2s. That was DRX way. As Hawkshot will spot out exactly where Beyond is.
You know,
that's the sign of a good Ashe.
Yeah, he's keeping tabs. It's going to be very important up against Nidalee especially. But, you know, the only coach right now in the LCK with a 100% win rate, Yamato. Is that coincidence? I don't think so.
I think not.
I think not.
I mean, Zephyr's pretty close, but he's not quite there.
That CV Max guy.
Yeah.
You know.
He's dropped a couple of games. We know CV Max has a different idea, though. He's about getting his rookies as much practice as possible.
True.
That's why they go to 3 games as often as they can. They accidentally 2-0'd the other day against Dynamics.
Big mistake.
Dynamics failed to win at the very end. So that was unfortunate. CV Max probably got a bit upset, but it's all right. We'll forgive them for now. Checking in on the game for a second. Don't worry, we'll come back to not talking about it pretty soon. But 300 gold is going to be the lead so far in this early game as it's shaking up. You can see very even on the bottom side, even in mid lane, but the Olaf is out farming the Nidalee just a little. And the Nidalee's path was completely foreseen based on that Hawkshot. And if these Hawkshots keep going well, then I'm going to stop praising Prey and say that it was Gorilla that told him where to shoot them each time.
Maybe it was.
Because I think this might actually be one of the lane combos that Gorilla has played the most in his life, right? Because Prey was the Ashe player.
Yeah. This is definitely going down memory lane for this support player. And you were talking about the jungle here. There was a go ping from Nidalee and a ping from On Fleek probably on the Krugs, so they knew exactly where he was. But now he's going for a gank here.
Well, there's going to be a stun here from Summit, but actually doesn't even use it, and he's just probably going to die. Yeah, he does. Eventually gets a fair bit of damage onto Rich, but I didn't even see the Ruthless Predator. This is very strange. Winter's Bite also going to miss there, but Volley does not. Thankfully, does have a bit of a wider hitbox, you could say. So, Summit already dead for first blood. If this was Noggery, we'd be saying it's a good thing, but not exactly going to cost him too much. He does immediately teleport back, and this time around Beyond is not going to be sticking around up there, try and continue any pressure or anything like that.
Yeah. The lane was pulled into a position to allow that gank to happen. It was the perfect timing because there was no wards. Also, I think they expected Nidalee on the Krugs and backing at that time, so I think there was a little bit of miscommunication on exactly where Beyond was, even though they had like a decent idea of where he could have been as well.
Okay.
Bard's a good champion. He's really
magically journeyed. As that's some good zoning there from Fate. Actually dodges a bit of the damage there from the distortion. Farms even. Summit looking for a potential gank here on Cruzan, but he was spotted. So, yeah, nothing can come from it.
They just ping him out. And here comes Bard again. Doesn't look like they're going to try to set anything up. And they're not going to freeze the wave. Or, yeah, they're not going to freeze it. They're just going to use that to burn them. And, yeah, there you go. Taking another look at the top lane. After that first kill, definitely things are looking up for Rich.
Ooh, are we going to get a stun? Nope. No, not it's not what we want. We do pack up the rage, though, as there we go. Finally, the stun comes out on Fleek. Going to turn up here as Summit has to flash and he just gets culled. The power of Renekton.
What is going on with this Renekton?
Well, that's a double stun. Flash forward, instant kill from Fate. It was all planned from the very beginning to make sure that Fate can get that kill.
Notice how he queued the wave and he left the minions. So he got some of them, but he thinned out the wave so it didn't hard push, but it kept the wave pushing, but not too fast, which was very nice. Good play by Fate. We talked about how there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform in this game. He gets the double stun and lights him up, and we're going to be seeing more of that because nobody in this game is really going to be building too many resistances when you look on the side of Team Dynamics, and Fate will get a lot of value out of his champion selection.
Yeah, I actually feel like the Syndra is probably the most important part of this competition at the moment, with the Renekton being the least important. He's basically going to be Olaf at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Unless he snowballs, but so far, that ain't happening. I think one of the most important parts is Gorilla on the Braum. We saw how good Braum is when Keria brought it out against Aphelios. If you tag him at all, then the Ashe auto-attacks him, and he's definitely going to get stunned. He's not going to be able to do those Aphelios things to you. It does just make sure that you're going to be able to get that CC. I feel like that's when you stun him, you know? That's what I was thinking.
Not when you're reaching all the way down the lane. You don't know where the enemy jungler is, and it's level 5 to level 6, and you have a minion deficit, and you know, there's like a billion things I could list. Thankfully, Fate was there to save the day.
Yeah.
And had he not been, it would have been even worse. But, I mean, doesn't take away from how devastatingly bad this Renekton is going to feel in this lane, now that Rich has picked up even a kill on top of that.
Yep, even still not going so well. Speaking of Beyond, though, he's very happy. As Kuzan dives on towards Fate's going to get chained up. Max range spear is going to land, and Beyond grabs another kill. Unleash power, not enough. Onto Kuzan as Google once again, the same magical journey. He's going to get sick of that. Feels like his daily commute at this point in time, but
yeah,
he's going to be absolutely okay.
It loses its, you know, the magical feel eventually.
Yeah.
If you do it too many times. But we begin to see, you know, the potential of the burst damage from Team Dynamics as well, as Nidalee with finished jungle item 2-0-1 having a massive effect on this game so far, has been able to line a bunch of kills up, and that was a very easy one. The second Kuzan lands the chains, that Syndra's dead because there's no flash, he's Syndra, he has Ignite, you know, there's no defensive summoners or anything like that, so it was just over from there with Beyond in position.
Interesting that Kuzan also went with the Ignite. He is definitely a fan of going for more of these aggressive summoners, but there's an Ashe on the opposing side, so gonna need to have some way of getting out of these big stuns. As on fleek, great sidestep. Beyond can't say the same. As, Summit does clear out the minions, but then he's just going to continue taking more and more damage. Another good sidestep. Nicely done. Kuzan pops on over. Looks like Shelly is on the minds of Dynamics, especially with Guga up here. Looking for some chimes. Seeing what he can do. Arrow. Flying through. Oh, that was close. Almost hit Rich as well.
The binding from Guga too. I think even if it landed, it would have been pretty difficult for them to jump on them. Nobody has flash on the side of SANDBOX. So going for the Hail Mary there nearly paid off, but Guga was there to save the day that time around. Team Dynamics setting up another potential play. They have the amount of damage to even get under that turret, as long as you can get them stunned. And this is what I was talking about. Here we go.
Yep, there's the Tempted Fate. It does miss the turret, but you're exactly right. It's always going to be enough. And another kill for Beyond.
This is why I really was talking about this Bard in the draft. It feels so nice for the amount of burst damage you have in your comp that onto someone who is stunned, especially a Syndra that has no summoners. So we're able to get so much value out of that. as Gorilla and Root are trying to deny DuckDom from getting into the lane.
Control Wall comes up here, and Root's going to be able to clear out all of this vision. Looking to try and grab a plate or two, as you can see. As Rich turns up to bottom lane to answer Summit's push. To Summit's credit, he has stayed within the same CS range for most of this laning phase. Not too bad, now has his phage as well, as there's tempo. Was blind as well, nicely done by Google.
내가 할게. 나이스.
Just one night before getting back to work.
Real clean, real clean. As Cloud Drake going to go over to Beyond Summit, hops into the pit, Dice is out. Not too much of a worry here, as Root does have Arrow available. There is a cleanse on top down, so he's not going to die to that or anything like that. Oh no. Disaster. Zonfleet turns up. The Freljord bros up here.
Sash has been quite effective so far, as we did expect, into the Aphelios. Up about 20 CS so far. And doing a good job of zoning him out of a bunch. So we'll see exactly how Root can carry in this game. You know, we were talking about the Pog vote and how Root was just totally ignored by everybody.
Yeah.
Thought he had a good game on the Senna. This could be his game as well to pull up on the Ashe.
Well, let's find out. As Fate having a pretty good game so far as well, apart from getting abused a little bit. But there was, it felt like absolutely nothing that he could do in the majority of those situations. I guess not get hit by any of the chains is a big answer. Without Flash, it is very, very hard to avoid one of these attempts to not stick. He will push this wave out, though. SANDBOX do get themselves a little bit of pressure on this map. We get to some normalcy. Oh, another chain lands. This time there's no Nidalee, so Fate is going to live. Oh no, that plate went begging. Felt like Fate was in range, but just not quite.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's got to be careful. Even with members nearby, at least he has Flash this time, but you don't want to give up your Flash just willy-nilly. And so he just had to flash away from, or just walk away from that one, I suppose. As they're trying to help out Summit a lot. They're going to attempt to give him the plates here. Big rotation up by both teams.
Yeah, Fate looking for it, but doesn't get the Scatter the Weak stun. There's Tempered Fate. That'll deny all the plate gold. And that's real unfortunate. Gorilla also, not going to die just yet. Unbreakable, hell of an ability, but eventually the Electrocute proc's going to do it. Beyond's going to burn to death, though, so it's a 1-for-1. In the meantime, Summit is here. Okay, Kuzan actually coming back in as DuckDom. Oh no. He's both Ashe and Varus at the same time. There's no answer. Root not even going to throw an arrow to try and find this one as Summit. Yeah, you're dead.
The Renekton runs away as fast as he possibly can. And that is all he's going to be doing in this game. And wow, that's Googer. I kind of want to just check him off as my as my winner of the Pog vote this time around. Not just about the plates, of course. Teleport comes in here. And that was a very extended fight. It feels like we traveled the rift on that one. You know, we were up in the top lane. We went all the way down through the river and behind the mid-tier 1 of the blue team. So we were definitely getting deep on in there. Kuzan was playing his LeBlanc. Whoa, that was... The Renekton is trying to glitch himself out of the game. He's experienced too much pain already.
Yeah. I think that was like the game was trying to actually change his model to a handbag instead of a crocodile.
Trying to glitch him down through the minions, so he's like off the map.
Oh,
Googer.
Man. Googer, yep.
By the way, you can do this. If you guys didn't know, you can deny plates, you can deny turret damage. Beyond immediately gets executed, or not executed, exhausted. We begin to see why this Syndra's great into this comp, but then Kuzan does a little bit of smurfing here. Look at that. He does like a little triangle, lines him up for DuckDom to get the two-man route. From there, Olaf and Renekton's best friends in life and in death. They will do a lot of running this game, you would have to imagine, and that is all they're going to be doing in that fight. They had literally zero effectiveness in that one. If they're going forward and they get the jump and a lot of things go right for them, maybe they're going to have some effect. But in that fight, and many like it to come in this game, they're going to be doing exactly that.
Going to be a roughie, absolutely. Summit building towards his Black Cleaver. Kuzan wants to try and get a bit of extra turret damage here. Summit is almost in lethal range. If Kuzan had his Ignite, then he could kill him. He could kill him now if he lands his full combo. After those chains come back up, Summit's going to have to be a little bit careful. As, yeah, he lands dangerous stuff, but is able to get out of there. Thankfully, Fate is there to save him. So we're going to be all right.
Yeah, we do have not many Drakes taken this game, actually. It was just the Cloud taken quite late. About 12 minutes, I suppose, and see that the Infernal is coming up next, so it's either going to be Mountain or Ocean as the souls in this game.
But a very easy Infernal Drake. I would have expected SANDBOX to actually fight for that. It is going to be Beyond that will just take that one down without any contest whatsoever. They'll trade it for an outer turret, top lane. But I don't think giving that away was ever a good idea, especially with the amount of damage that this comp has. Everyone's built for damage. Even Bard does damage. Not with his ultimate. Everything else. Oh, I guess not with the cups of tea.
Yeah. You're healing damage in that one.
Meep slap, dude. It hurts.
True.
It really does.
He picked up his Mikhails just in case we have an Ashe Arrow land onto Kuzan, Beyond, or Rich. Dugdom has Cleanse. And it can also get rid of multiple other stuns in the comp that SANDBOX has picked up. And we're just slowly getting into this one. We have Shirley spawning here quite late because that objective was also taken late. I like these two teams. They like to fight a bunch. As here we go again.
Yep, the Spear not going to arm because the Ragnarok was available. Dugdom to pick up the minion wave in the mid lane. SANDBOX still with control of this area. Honeyfruit keeping On Fleek alive. Mountain Soul would be god tier against Dynamics comp, but I just don't know whether SANDBOX are going to be able to get enough control in order to contest it as this game goes on. But man, imagine that as a get out of jail free card. 4 Mountain Drakes. You couldn't lose, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you're not building too many resistances, but 4 of them together, and then once you start getting them, you start building some resistance items.
Oh, there's a big old flash. Guga's well dead. All right. Okay, it's one way of doing it. Chains are going to miss there onto On Fleek. Spear going to land onto Fate. Beyond out of vision range. Rich should be dying here on the bottom side. Root's going to pick up that first kill. The flash forward. Dugdom easily eliminates the Ashe from this one. Gorilla goes gold, and he doesn't want to watch this. This Fate, I don't know whether he's got enough to help out, but Summit will turn up. There's a good stun. The Crocodile decides that he's not going to be able to do anything, and look, to be honest, we agree.
Yeah, he's really not doing much. He might just be a stacking Black Cleaver stacks kind of champion in this one for the Ashe. But we'll have to wait and see his effectiveness. I mean, if it does get to the late game and they eventually build tanky enough, maybe they can use these Mountain Drakes to just run at the enemy team with no tanks. As you can see that Cougar just, you know, on a ward, gets stunned out and destroyed. And I don't know what was going on here in the mid lane. Rich kind of just like ran up to the Ashe and was like, you're not going to kill me. And then they just ran him down while the others were distracted. And eventually, the Root does come in and they at least pick up Root. That sounds a little bit weird.
Yeah, that was confusing, but
that's the way it goes.
Understood. Fate's going to get the cannon creep. Not disappointed yet. It's Kuzan, not with a lot of mana. Root and On Fleek. Sorry, Gorilla and On Fleek making their way up. Root here in the mid lane, he is going to be a large portion of SANDBOX's win condition, especially if he's landing his arrows. Kuzan is a great target, Beyond a great target, Rich a great target, Guga, phenomenal target. Dugdom's got cleanse, forget his cleanse, amazing target. Hit anyone with an arrow, and they're probably dead if you're in range. So, yeah, we'll see whether Root is going to be able to add that to his team. Because there is like a weird like conversation to have about scaling with these two comps, right? Like, because you look at Renekton and you look at Olaf, and you think normally useless in a later stage of the game. But in this game, there is nothing that looks anything like a tank on the side of Dynamic.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping them, really.
Yeah.
Except sheer damage, which is a bit scary. Nice dodge here from Root.
A fantastic Cosmic Binding with the ulti, and the Unbreakable is just such high value. As Rich dashing his way out.
Wow.
Keep himself alive for the time being. I believe that was Mikhail's out of Guga. A fantastic item choice.
I feel like if you were making like an advertising video, like an advertisement for Braum and why you should play him, that was probably a good one. Just take that clip and roll with it. Really nice sidestep, though, by Root. And that was a really high percentage chance by Team Dynamics. I like them going for that right before Mountain Drake because no summoners out of the bottom lane. Both Root and Gorilla have nothing. So if he doesn't dodge that, they can land a stun. They could potentially blow up Braum and the Ashe. But because of the good play here from SANDBOX, doesn't quite pan out. They get the stun onto Ashe, but Gorilla is ready and waiting with the shields. And so they had to back away. Rich stayed a little bit close. He gets Mikhail'd at least, and so he won't be punished by the arrow.
Yeah, Rich now has the culling back available again. Gorilla needs to be there. Be a front line for him. As, oh my god, I can feel the years being stripped away from me. And I need as many as I can get, you know?
He's gaining years. We're losing by watching.
Not so good. Rich dashes on in. In fact, Summit, I don't think they quite knew where he was. As Tempered Fate going to miss. Summit's just trying to get his health back up. On Fleek.
Yeah.
Gonna find Kuzan. Kuzan can be very tricky against this composition as Hawkshot spots that they have started up the Drake as Arrow is going to land onto Guga. Not exactly the target they want. Now Summit looking for Kuzan. He dices his way into the pit.
Oh, the binding.
Bad news is, it's just the fake one.
Yeah.
SANDBOX move on over to this Dragon. Chain's going to land onto OnFleek, but it's not going to arm as Rich is towards the bottom side. We've got a magical journey to get them over here. Doctum actually just walked all the way through this Mountain Drake. Should be taken, and it's going to be secured by the Nidalee. But the Ashe does take down Rich already. Summit can't get himself over the wall. They're avoiding all of the CC for the moment, but that's not going to work. Unleash Power pretty good at dealing with the Aphelios, as that scat of the week was phenomenal. The magical journey's going to be taken. It eats up the stun on Beyond. And Dynamics, they do lose the fight, but they get the Drake, and that is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. They're able to pick up that Mountain Drake, so you can see triple Merc Treads on the side of Team Dynamics. You've also got Zhonya's slowly being built up here by Kuzan. They actually are building some amount of resistances, especially with the Mountain Drake soul that was taken. So I like the itemization there. I thought this would have been like a 200 years moment, but the AoE was actually a little bit underwhelming from Doctum. Not able to do too much with the Infernum with the Gravitum, but then they reach a little bit too far, and you can see the power of Syndra against this kind of team. It's like, if he wasn't out of mana, and had he landed the stun onto Gugar, I think they probably could have picked up 2 more. But this is like the world is his oyster right now. He can do pretty much whatever he wants. As long as he doesn't get hit by Bard, I think Fate is going to have a fun time in this game.
Yep, and he can also read in his book exactly why Renekton was picked in this game. He has that one already purchased for himself. It's fantastic. Good to know that. I actually don't mind Morello Nomicon, to be perfectly honest, because they do have a Bard and a Nidalee, which is a fair bit of healing to themselves. Plus, Beyond is very far ahead, so he's having a good game. Root underneath his turret, trying to keep this outer mid lane alive, as Summon's trying to fight against Rich, but he's going to lose, guys. That's just okay. You don't need to be a rocket surgeon to know.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if they had literally any other champion that wasn't Renekton. Like, get me Teemo, man. I'm down.
I mean, Teemo could probably split better against Lucian. He does have a blind. It's a good example.
Get me Heimerdinger again. That looks much better.
I mean, to be perfectly honest,
Tryndamere?
I'm a bit of a shill when it comes to Heimerdinger. Just happy.
Mastery top. I think that might have been a better choice.
Nasus definitely. Just bring Renekton's good brother.
Yeah.
Bring him in there.
Hey,
instead.
why not? Scale up.
Yep.
be a tank in the front line. I wonder if we had a stat that was like, I mean, the Renekton here is just like, there's nothing that he can really do.
Cut.
Once he gets caught and Rich says cut, you are cut from the lineup. And I wonder if we could have a stat which is like time spent running towards the enemy and time spent running away from the enemy. And then just look at both Olaf and Renekton and see exactly like what the percentages were.
Yeah, I
think we would gain a lot of perspective on exactly how useful these champions can be.
A little bit of insight. Summit will collect the experience for the cannon minion.
You can tell he's not having a fun time.
He's super tilted.
He's not having a fun time.
We might see Lonely in for game number 3. Assuming we get there, this Mountain Drake will be able to tell us whether Dynamics are going to win. If they get it, they win. That's how they're going to tell us. As Rich, seeing whether he wants Crocodile Toast again. This time Summit is going to back away.
The funny thing is that even with Summit doing literally nothing in this game, I still feel like there's a chance for them to win if they can get good picks with Syndra.
Yeah,
and
with Ashe, right? If she can stay safe in a backline.
Exactly.
There are options.
I don't think they're out of this game just yet. Even though, you know, sometimes it looks a little bit dire.
Yeah. And if Dynamics play their comp out perfectly, it's just their comp is very finesse-based. It is about landing all of their poke and then going for engages when they know that they can pop people because they just have no one that can go in. You play around Tempered Fates, things like that, and stuns and picks. It's okay. 28 seconds. Lockdown. Oh, he's got the weapons that he wants. Summit standing on top of a ward. We'll see whether this is going to be an opportunity on Fleek. Not for him. As our second chain is going to land onto Summit. There's Asterix Gauge. Fantastic Cosmic Binding, and that is the layering of CC that you want to see. Good flash out of Gorilla, but also good from Root, who is going to get stunned up. The Ashe is dead. Double kill comes through from Beyond. And we're just talking about it. This comp isn't super easy to play, but when your opponent makes a misstep, the punishment can be so severe.
Yeah. And it's rough, too, because if Syndra and Ashe aren't able to find anything, which, again, we talked about Mikhail's first here for Guger. It was a fantastic item choice. This is interesting. SANDBOX are going to try to rush down Mountain.
Yeah, ulti comes out, but Fate not going to be able to find the stun. Guger pops back, gets ignited. Rich is in the pit, so there is going to be a smite. Non-Fleek is going to lock down and deny the Mountain Soul. Baron is picked up. Kuzan over the wall. That's a flash from Fate. He needs to land some more than just a an auto attack. He isn't, but he's still going to keep himself alive as now Rich is at full health, chasing after a Syndra who is real dead. Nice interrupt on the culling. He's wandering casually towards his demise. On Fleek now as well, also not having a great time. Getting punished for denying the Mountain Soul by the looks of things. He keeps these auto attacks up. It can actually get a little bit dicey. If it doesn't, Guga's going to be able to lock down that kill. So, Doctor, so many years. When he was FaZe, actually, he played a lot of Aphelios during the promotion tournament. Definitely one of our better Aphelios players as well. So if there's anyone that you really want to gamble on Aphelios with, it's probably not going to be Doctor.
Yeah, he played a lot in promotion. It's his most played so far this season. He's 4-0 on the pick, by the way.
Yeah.
So we might be seeing 5-0 if they are able to end this game. They're not going to do it just yet. We will go into essentially waiting for next Baron / next Mountain, although they're going to look for more inhibitors here. They're going to go bot first.
The gold lead is just getting a little bit too out of control for SANDBOX to make their way back in. 8,000, that's a very heavy wallet. You can use your wallets as a tank that time around, as Rich had a QSS. So eating the arrow doesn't really mean too much, as we see Summit just get absolutely dominated.
Fights like these, where they're all spread out and really dicey and all over the place, it's perfect for Team Dynamics' comp. You look for picks, you look for poke, and you use your mobility advantage to just dog them down. But you can see over here, SANDBOX actually with the right idea. They say, you're going to leave the Mountain Drake for us. You're going to not take Mountain Soul. You're going to prioritize Baron. we're just going to take it away with our jungler that's still alive. This is kind of funny where Fate had no mana.
Yeah.
Flashes into auto attack. That's not what Cinder's supposed to do, but
Doesn't seem right.
yeah.
Summit, 0 and 6 on the Renekton. Absolutely not doing what you want him to. 3 items for Root, though, does have his Death Dance completed. But as you can see, this Baron still has 30 seconds to go as there's the arrow. Doctor going to get McHale'd. I believe, no, actually just uses his cleanse. Tempered Fate comes down on Fleet, takes a bit of damage, but Root is still safe in the backline. That's the important thing, is Unbreakable, denying a lot of the culling damage, but just look at the amount of poke damage out of Dynamics. It's insane, and SANDBOX just, they're too far behind to be able to use their meat shields. That's Rich. Ooh, QSS actually put on cooldown. Root might actually have a target now.
Yeah, we've got Cleanse, McHale's, QSS. They're all on cooldown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
But
we can fight, says SANDBOX.
there is double Zhonya's, and that's Dance coming up here for Duckdown, so he's putting to use those Mountain Drakes as well.
Oh, another stopwatch there from Rich as well.
Yes.
It's probably not going to be dying.
Will we see a moment where SANDBOX can actually get some kind of pick/hard engage and win a team fight? Because that's really what they're banking on here. They have the ability, but as for right now, I think with all that stuff on cooldown, Team Dynamics can just wait for Mountain Drake to spawn, for Baron to come up in 2 minutes, and to sit back, play it safe, and try to spread out as you did in the former K round. We haven't seen Root really been able to get in position and in range to do any of this auto-attacking damage that looks very cool against minions, but would look cooler against some champions.
Yeah, Ruler did make it look pretty cool against champions, so it does work in that setting as well. Just haven't seen it from him just yet. Dynamics with complete control of this map, just making sure that they can push their vision line forward. Guarantee this Mountain Soul is theirs, and theirs alone. I'm just walking at the Crocodile. SANDBOX, they need to win a fight, like now. Otherwise, they're just not going to, because this happens. They just get poked by everyone and overwhelmed. And the Mountain Drake spawns, and then they have an extra shield to get through. They have no ability to get a Mountain Drake themselves. And the game is over. Admittedly, it feels like it's basically over anyway, especially given the lead Dynamics do have. 9,000 gold to be exact. There is a ward. I mean, you could throw an arrow at it. See what happens.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to skip that idea. It will be the Mountain Soul given to Team Dynamics. Now they're almost 10,000 gold ahead. Their damage is pretty insane. And their ability to cleanse any kind of pick stun from the side of SANDBOX is also quite insane. Let's see how this next Baron fight goes, or if Team Dynamics will even bother to pick it up. They might just try to bait it and then look to turn with some of their poke.
Or just wait until Nexus turrets go down, right? Because you've got 2 inhibitors. They are going to be respawning, one of them in 18 seconds in the mid lane. And so not going to need to worry about that one so much. And top lane is not the one that you really have too much of a worry about. Dynamics, they're just going to try and defend. It's a great Cosmic Binding as Gorilla. Look, Kuzan, Summit. He's looking for Rich, but we've seen how that's gone throughout the majority of this game. Just cuts down the Crocodile with his culling. And now knows that we're going to lose a Nexus turret if we try to contest this. It's an impossible decision to make here for SANDBOX. Every part of it is just bad news. As there's the Tempered Fate, lands onto 2. Dynamics, they still don't have any hard engage. Remember, there is no real way to go in on anything. They need to soften up the members of SANDBOX before they do anything. They have done it very, very well throughout this game so far. Still, it's a different way to win, as that's another brilliant Cosmic Binding. Guru is hard carrying this team right now, as Rich going to avoid the ulti with his stopwatch. Now Summit, full health, flashing on forward, is going to take down Rich in this team fight to start it up. As Kuzan, he's going to go golden with his Zhonya's. Gorilla trying to fight But yeah, without the Ashe, I just don't think SANDBOX are going to have it in him. Guga even able to keep himself alive. That's going to be the double for Kuzan, a double for the Bard, and Dynamics will stroll towards the Nexus and take it down.
Yep, and we will be going into a game number 3 after that play. They thought they had it with Rich going down. He even had the stopwatch down to the final moments, and it just was not enough. As GG, that's going to do it. As down will go the Nexus, and we are going to game 3. Team Dynamics took them a little while, as it usually does in their wins.
I mean, that's a hard comp to just like straight up win with as well, because you don't have any way to force fights. You need to, you know, stay together and keep poking people down. It's like a poke siege composition that they can't ever dive onto anything.
Yeah, thankfully, the last pick, Renekton, was picked up here to essentially make it a 4v5. I mean, we did not see anything out of this pick. The Olaf, I feel like the Olaf with a hard engage, like tanky top laner, might have not been so bad, but Renekton was just like, he was like meleeing and spinning around and running away and not really doing anything. Of course, he did kind of get dumped on.
I mean, the Renekton was a liability. That actually, yeah. It was,
maybe not 5v4, maybe 6v4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost did more harm than good. Yeah, it's really not something that you want to see. There were so many different options that he could have gone with. I mean, Renekton isn't even a reliable split pusher, right? Like, there are so many champions. Like, if that was Camille, for example, then Lucian can't do anything against Camille late game. She just runs at you and kills you, right? Puts you into the Hextech ultimatum, and yeah, you can dash as many times as you want. You literally can't get past that. So, I don't know. Yeah, very weird situation. He could have even played Jace. I think Jace feels like a better choice, right? And if it's blind, then even more so.
Or like Ornn, right? You have items for your Ashe, your Syndra. Eventually, you have that hard engage to at least, you know, potentially have better pick for some of these squishy targets. If you only have stuns and melee champions, then you're not really going to be doing too well against 3 cleanses, 2 Zhonya's, a stopwatch. You know, like they were just too far ahead at that point. So
yeah, a little bit disappointing. A little bit disappointing, and I think a lot of that had sort of came down to whether or not the Renekton was going to get ahead. And I think as soon as he didn't, the game was over. And SANDBOX kind of knew it. You sort of saw Summit's face in the camps. But they still have an opportunity to walk away with their first match victory. They'll just have to do it after the break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere.
슬슬 들어오려고 한다. 들어온다.
쌈 보자. 바로 못 먹어.
야나 살릴 수 있나? 애쉬 노플. 야 천천히 쌈 봐. 쌈 좋아. 다 노플.
속박 걸어줄게. 3인 속박.
다 노플. 다 잡아. 다 잡아줘 제발.
내가 잡아줄게.
나이스.
네이터.
야 진짜 얘 나만 때렸어.
네이터.
나 수은 초식에 지렸다 그냥.